Hello, explorers. Today's episode, we go over our thoughts and feelings about Bad Batch Season 3, episodes 1 to 3. So, spoiler warnings are in the show. Then, afterwards, we interview our very own Jedi Master Taylor on her adventures last weekend, including that Valentine's card from Cal Kestis himself. Ooh.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Welcome to episode 42, and on today's show, we finally have just the three of us because we've been so damn busy interviewing people and having guests on the show. So, without any delay, joining me as always is the ever so wise and handsome old Jedi guy himself. It's Jimmy.
Howdy.
Last but no means least, you can hear her before you see her, and when you see her, you won't forget her. It's the blue-haired Taylor.
Thanks. Hey, guys.
So, we know that Taylor's been very busy, but we'll start with Jimmy. How's your week been, mate?
Whew. It has been a long one. We had our our swim banquet Thursday night, and we have, like 50 kids on that team. It's massive. So that took us a couple hours to get through and to honor our seniors and all the stuff that we had to do. And then we turned around on Friday and we started Make-A-Wish. And I posted something about it on our Facebook group. And I don't know if I did on our socials or not, but our Facebook group I talked about a little bit. We have a group of 5 boys who at 4:15 p.m. Central Standard Time started swimming in a relay format, and they had to swim 20 miles each. So overall, 100 miles. They're raising money for Swim to a Wish. Raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation here, like the local Kansas, Missouri chapter. And we had a goal of $25,000. And we hit that this weekend. Our boys raised their 6,000, I think, and then we have a little bit over 25,000. Nice. And then there's another school who's doing it next weekend because they couldn't do it this weekend because of scheduling issues, but they're going to do it. So we're hoping to hit that 30,000, and it costs about $10,000 per kid to grant a wish. So it's exhausting because it never stops. Like they start at 4:15 p.m. and then they go until, and we stopped this morning. I think our boys finished at like somewhere like 9 or 10 o'clock. So they hit about 40 hours of being up and swimming and sleeping. I mean, it's basically torture, but it's awesome. It's exciting. And then girls season starts tomorrow morning at 5:15 a.m. So no rest for
Yay.
the wicked. So
Nice.
it's been busy.
Absolutely incredible. And Jimmy, if the viewers want to donate, they can still donate now, can't they?
Yes, the link will be up. I'll put the link in all of our socials or on podcast and the YouTube channel, and it'll be open for a few weeks. They kind of keep it open, and I've kind of found out too that Make-A-Wish doesn't really close anything down till our fiscal year, so you can always find it and donate. But yeah, so if anyone wants to donate, however much, please do, and thank you in advance.
Awesome. What about you, Taylor? How's your week been?
It's been great. I've just been trying to recover. I didn't know how tiring the weekend was going to be, but I don't know. I went for a slump down with nothing, and then all of a sudden, all the socials go crazy. So now I'm just kind of catching up with all the people that I met on the weekend, and starting to get back into the normal groove of things. It's been good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like I was just saying to you both, I've come away to a place called Centre Parks. It's basically a massive haven of activity. Been doing stuff like high ropes, geocaches with the kids. I've had a week off work. I've got one more week off work. Just catching up on a bit of Bad Batch. And yeah, just being at home with the family. But apart from that, I've had quite a steady week. So I think Jimmy's had the worst week going due to getting up so early and grafting. And me and Ted have been living the high life.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, let's see what new explorers are going to be joining us then this week. So as always, we've got an influx of new explorers joining us. So welcome to Brian Hanna, Naomi Cooper-Smith, and Alexis Durant, who's the Jedi Knight Lex that was on last week's show. So if you get a chance, head over to the social medias, okay, and check out Jedi Knight Lex. Currently on Instagram, we've got about 418 followers. We're not even a year old yet. The goal, though, that we're trying to get before May the 4th is 500. So if you listen to this, or you listen to this with somebody, make sure at least everybody is followers on Instagram. Let's get those followers up. Let's get those likes up. And don't forget to head over to the YouTube as well. Hit subscribe on there. And let's help get these explorers all aboard and spread the love.
Yeah.
Okay, then, so let's head over to this week's Force Encounters.
All right, so I obviously was incredibly busy, but we did have time to watch the first 3 episodes of Bad Batch, which we're going to talk about. But we did do a high council with Clan Brandalorian. We had Eric on, and we had Jacob Rudolph come on, and I just kind of facilitated a talk with them. I didn't really give them any of my thoughts or anything like that. It was just kind of fun to see those guys come from different places, and it was really cool because I think they're all pretty close to the same age, but they're all coming from it in all these different areas. So that was a lot of fun to see. And then this weekend, like I talked about, is super long. And about 3 years ago, I started bringing a Lego set with me, like a big one. And so this year, I built the Justifier, Cad Bane ship from the first season of the Bad Batch. I've been holding on to that thing for like a year. And it was a heck of a build. It's pretty cool. Got lots of good minifigs. Got Cad Bane and Omega Hunter, and then Fennec Shan's in there too. So yeah, so it was pretty fun. Getting to build that. So that's kind of my Force Encounters for the week.
Oh, that's so good.
What about you, Jack?
So the only Force encounter I've got this week is obviously I've come away to Centre Parks. It's like an activity place, like I was saying earlier. Not expecting any Star Wars stuff whatsoever, merchandise. And I went into one shop and I come across stuff like Darth Vader's lip balm, Grogu's lip balm, loads of beauty stuff, and a little chopper. So yeah, I brought chopper.
Hopefully you bought
lip balm. No lip balm, unfortunately. But yeah, picked myself up a little chopper. Nice little price. What about you, Tay?
Awesome. I had a really, really great Force encounter at FanExpo this past weekend. But I think we're going to get into it later, so I'll hold on to that.
Nice. So stay tuned for that then. Okay, so let's head over to Batu then and see what news we've got coming out of there. Okay, so finally we think it's coming. We're not sure, but we think it's coming. A new report from Collider states that the upcoming Star Wars series, The Acolyte, has a tentative release date of June the 5th, 2024, though Disney has not confirmed nor denied it when they were contacted by Collider. So who knows? But the rumours are floating big time now. June the 5th. Are we going to see a trailer sometime soon? If that is the release date, you should probably put your money on it, I reckon, sometime in March. Do you reckon? April, maybe?
Yeah,
who knows?
soon.
Maybe it could be a May the 4th thing as well, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's only a month.
Yeah.
Right? So, that'd be all right, I guess. And that's a Wednesday. And Collider has been pretty accurate these last few months with some of the stuff that they've leaked or some of the news that they broke. So I am optimistic that this is real. Obviously, if they were to release it sooner, I wouldn't be upset. But I would think, and I can't think of anything major that's happening in the next 3 months. We don't have a Disney call or anything like that, I don't think, with Uncle Bob. But so who knows? Maybe May the 4th. I don't know. That's a Saturday though, so I'm not sure.
Maybe
we'll
the last
see,
episode of Bad Batch after that, perhaps. Because that finishes in May.
Yeah,
that'd
possibly
be a good shout. But like we say, all
cool.
rumours at the minute. What rumours have you heard, Taylor?
Well, I've heard that rumors are floating around that the Mando movie is going to take 4 months to film. But for comparison, Mando season 3 took 6 months to film. So I'm a little bit confused by that. Like, do they have most of it already done? Like, or does that mean that a lot of it's going to be like animated? Or not animated, but done in the background. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so I guess we'll see, and I hope they don't rush it. I don't want them to rush it. But if the timing is right, it looks like it'll be perfect for a 2026 release, if everything falls into place, I guess. But I think we'll definitely see one of these trailers at FanExpo. Or sorry, FanExpo. At
Yeah,
Celebration Japan.
yeah, you can bet on that.
I'm excited.
100%.
Yeah.
That makes me nervous. This rumor. I hope it is just a rumor because my fear about this movie is
Yeah.
it's being rushed and it's just going to
Yeah.
be volume city.
But also think about how many hours goes into a season. How many footage hours goes into a season of watching something that's like,
I mean, yeah,
so,
you could be right.
and this is just a
It's only
film.
yeah. I mean, it's only 2 hours versus what maybe closer to 6.5. By the
Yeah.
time you're done with the season, so
So
possibly that's
thinking about it that way
a
makes me
positive
feel
one.
better.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Who,
That does
who,
make me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Respawn Entertainment. Yeah.
I was going to say, who's
Oh,
to
go
say as
ahead,
well that this
Jack.
could be done in 2 parts?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's true. It could set up
Yeah.
Dave's movie or something. Who knows? But speaking of The Mandalorian, Respawn Entertainment, the developer behind Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, are rumored to be developing a title that will see players take control of the Mandalorian bounty hunter character. Plus, that's not enough. We have remastered versions of Battlefront Classic Collection coming on March 14th, and I think that's for a lot of different platforms. It's not
Yeah.
just the next gens. I believe like
Yeah.
PS4 and Xbox One and things like that will all have those. I have seen a lot of rumors this weekend, on socials this weekend. This this bounty hunter game has started to gain some momentum, which I mean, why not? I mean, it's
Yeah.
super popular. You could sit there and think about like was it Nintendo 64, the bounty hunter game where you played Jango Fett? That was like super popular. Now that was in between my time like being in the military and stuff like that, so I never really played it. But my brothers, however, love that game. So who knows?
Yeah, I'd love to
It'd be
see
very
that.
cool.
And the Battlefront collection is going to be absolutely awesome. And there's a bunch of people on our Facebook page that mentioned they're getting it. So at some point we'll knock up a Battlefront night, I think, if we can. Get all the explorers on at once.
Oh, that'd be
That'd be fun.
so fun. Just give me like a week to practice so I don't look terrible.
In other news, then, writer Ethan Sachs has spoke about his upcoming 4-issue mini Marvel mini-series, Star Wars Jango Fett. Basically, it has him on a quest to recover a stolen artifact, which puts Jango in the crosshairs of both new foes and old foes, and fearsome familiar ones like Aura Singh. And this is due for, I think it was March 18th, so about roughly a month's time or so. There it is, Jimmy. The preview there, looking pretty sick. Obviously, this all takes place prior to, I think it was episode 1, what I was reading about it. There's also talk of a new bounty hunter. The name forgets me at the minute, but he's got skills kind of where he's hitting bullseye on everything. Can you remember his name, Jimmy?
I don't, but what if we see Sifo Dyas and some stuff like that in this
Good shout.
comic? Or
Oh
like
my
the setup
gosh.
of how Jango Fett gets recruited or something like that, like by Count Dooku or something. That'd be kind of cool. Some flashbacks or something.
Yeah, I
I
mean
don't remember the bounty hunter,
we get
though.
some of it in is it the Shadows of the Sith book? We get some Sifo-Dyas stuff in there too, don't we? Maybe
I
not.
finished that book.
There's also another one. It's like Force Collector, and that he has Force power where he can touch something of Sifo-Dyas's, and it has like this big back jump to Sifo-Dyas. So I would be super interested in that.
Nice.
That would be awesome.
So, yeah, nice little mini-series coming out soon. And that wraps up this week's news. Okay, then. So this week, then, we mentioned at the start of the show, we're going to dive straight into the Bad Batch. As always, we had loads of comments and DMs and everything coming through on our social media pages. So thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody that commented. We will do our very best to read every single comment that we can. Again, make sure you're hitting us at Explore the Force on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Threads. So, Jimmy, what comments have you got, buddy?
All right, on our Facebook page, Darren Briscoe, all I imagined it would be a brooding and nerving start. The animation and lighting is looking more like live action than ever. I'm so invested in these characters that I fear for them. Omega is a standout and my fave of them all. I'm breathless after those first 3 episodes, and I just can't wait to see where this goes. Astonishing. Yeah, yes, Darren,
Yes, Darren.
and then we got Sean Hudson, and he said bloody fabulous and deaf not for kids in some places. He's not. It would be a little scary, I think, and he's got a bunch of Padawans running around, so
He
he
has,
would,
yeah.
he's an expert in that area.
He's
So
watching it in the bathroom on his phone, is what
yeah,
he's doing.
he's watching it.
Awesome, awesome, absolutely love it. Um, Over on Twitter, then we've got a couple more. So Martin Wright, he said he quite liked it. Gordon RB7, he said he's loved Bad Batch since episode 1, and he thinks it's important or will be important in the Star Wars story going forward, which I completely agree with. Vinny Vibe said it's very
Oh, for
promising
sure.
setup. Again, more than agree with Vinny there. And Ty Kinsley's just put a gif of a chef kiss going, voila. So again,
Perfect.
yeah, have to agree. Again, thank you so much to everybody that sent all the comments and the messages. Keep them pouring in. As always, we'll do our best to read everyone's comments out, and we'll try and mix it up as best we can as well to make sure that your comments get read out in next week's show. So, on to the main topic then, Bad Batch. We'll start with you then, Taylor. What did you think of it overall?
Um, Oh, I loved it actually. I never watched Bad Batch as it was releasing before, so I had to catch up with it beforehand. But watching it and being like, "Oh my gosh, I can't watch the next episodes to see what's going on," was so like, I don't know, gives me anxiety. But it started off so dark, and
Yeah.
I just I loved it. Like and there's just so much to come. You can tell. So I loved it. I love the first episodes.
What about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, I thought all three were insane. They were all different. They were all different, but the same. They had that same um, they had the same feel to them. I mean,
Hmm.
like Omega. At first, it was like, oh, 21 days or 25 days, and then it flashes, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the time
Her
jump.
dealing with stuff. Um, Crosshair looking destroyed, and then
Yeah.
Hmm.
that whole episode unfolds, and you're sitting there like, what's going on with Emery, and then you flash into two, and you got Hunter and Wrecker just absolutely just wrecked. I mean, they were just
Yeah.
wrecked without
Heartbroken.
everybody. Yeah, and I had I know we'll talk a little bit about each episode probably, but and that was exciting because I think their crew got a little bit bigger that second
Yeah.
episode, so that's pretty
Yeah.
fun. And then the third episode, woo wee, like wow. I mean, Dave doesn't mess around. Kind of, he told us everything without telling us anything, and then we'll all be
Yeah.
speculating. And it's like, I mean, for people like us and do what we do, that third episode was mint. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jack,
Totally
how
agree.
are you feeling it?
Yeah, big time. Absolutely love it. I've loved the Bad Batch since they were first shown to us, like Clone Wars. But I agree with what you're saying there. It's got the same feel to it. But I get what you're saying.
Mm.
Even though it's got the same feel, each episode had its own personality. I think um,
Mm.
straight from start to finish. There's little Easter eggs as well. Again, Dave Filoni's little
Yeah.
masterpiece of dropping golden nuggets here, there, and everywhere. Um, but there's things that we'll delve into on each episode shortly that it makes you do think and ponder. And I love the time jump stuff as well. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about the first episode then. So, what do we think overall about the first episode? I'll give you two guys a bit of time to think. But some of the things I liked is Omega at the start, basically trying everything she can. You can see how desperate she is to get out, and then
Mm.
literally you start to realise actually it's pretty pointless in what you're trying to a degree. And funnily enough, how she gets that is when the certain person rocks up, so to speak. But yeah, I think it was quite clever that Emery was there to give a sort of bit of a reassurance thing to her, and you got to be careful as well because it pulls you in thinking that Emery gives her some form of sympathy as well. You start seeing bits of sympathy being given by Emery, but then
Yeah.
that's soon taken away. Like you said as well, Jimmy Crosshair's broken. He's absolutely broken. Um, it's funny that they always chat. And something I didn't realise as well is that episode is the first time that
Mm.
Crosshair calls Amiga by her name and the whole series.
Yeah.
I was gonna
So
mention that. Yeah, I saw that.
yeah,
That's
so that was
crazy.
very that was. I forget the name now, but the Camino getting rid of the samples again. It's a little. a little bit more of the hope
Malice.
thing, building that up. Dr. Hemlock's was absolutely brilliant as well. As
Yeah.
always, you just hate him. Very ruthless.
He's
Um,
evil.
and then, again, I'm trying not to get sucked into Batcher because this is Dave Filoni. He's gathering everyone in. It all feels great, cuddly and fluffy. You don't want Basher to die, etc., etc. You don't want the clones to die. You don't want Bad Batch to die. But it's
Yeah.
all gonna go. Everyone's gonna get hooks, and it's gonna hurt these people. Or, it's relating it to home where people have got pets as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not getting sucked into liking Batcher at all. Can't stand the thing. So I'm staying away from that. Staying away from that. What about you, Jimmy? What's your thoughts on episode 1, buddy?
I love Batcher.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty hilarious that the droid in charge of the Lucre Hounds call sign was K9. I
Yeah,
didn't
K9.
pick that up on the first watching through, but I was like, all right, well done, well done.
You spotted that one.
And just yeah, and of course, like on my second watch through, I was like, oh, it's K9, that makes sense. And but yeah, man, Omega. We said this when we were talking with Jedi Knight Lex on our preview show. I said that I thought Omega had the chance to like really become like my favorite character from this,
Yeah.
and so far, like I am just like drawn into her. I'm so super excited to see where her story goes, and I thought that first episode was nuts. And like I said in I think our Facebook group, it's like an animated Andor, like a slow burn. That first episode because not a lot
Yeah.
happens. Um, but it just keeps telling that story. But I loved the feel, the music they played. The story keeps driving forward, and Omega still, even in the spite of all that evil and all that loss, and you see all those clones, even the like Emery and those guys seem just blech. And and even Nala say she's broken. I mean, you can tell. I mean,
Yeah.
she's talking even slower than she usually does.
That's true.
So, but yeah. So I don't know. Like I really liked it, and I can't wait for more. So,
Hmm.
what about you, Taylor?
I I really like that Omega's like making the doll like secretively, and like she's got this little doll and it looks like Wrecker's doll, and then it gets taken away, and it's just I'll dispose of it. Oh, so heartbroken. And Crosshair at this point, like he is totally broken. Crosshair's like,
yeah,
don't get caught up in a lost cause. Like he believes that he's done, like he's like, I belong here and blah blah. And then Omega even tells Emery, like, none of us belong here. So she's like, you're a clone too.
Yeah,
Like, Omega is just, she's so overlooked. But she's such a main, like, character to all of this. She ties it all in. She's bringing everybody back together. Like, she's like the hope, like the little
yeah,
sprinkle, like that little spark of
yeah,
hope. So,
yeah. She really is.
yeah. So, and yes, I guess you can kind of see that like her sister just looks like her, obviously looks like the rest of the clones, but it's weird that they're supposed to be like exact clones, and yet this one has blonde hair and she's a girl, and this one has brown hair, and I don't know.
What's what I was wondering too is, were you curious about when she said she got sent away?
Yeah, like, oh
And then Dr. Hemlock found her. I was like, what does that mean?
yeah,
Like, where was she sent? What happened?
yeah, like I've had a
Kind of
different
deal.
history than you, and it's like, well, I
Yeah.
never heard of
And are
you.
like all the women scientists walking around, they all look the same. Are they all clones? Or are they just, yeah, it's hard to tell. Like, that was the only thing that kind of threw me off the first episode was
yeah,
they never showed any of the women scientists. They all had those goggles on, kind of like
Yeah,
Tess.
I never even thought of
And they
that.
all look like Emery. And so I don't know if that's the case or not, because but unless they come out and say it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I have lots of questions. I mean, great episode, lots of questions still.
Hmm.
yeah. Awesome. So move on to swiftly then to cool. So we'll move into episode 2 then. We'll start with you then, Taylor. What was your thoughts on episode 2? What did you like?
I actually liked episode 2 the most, and maybe it's because it just went right back to our, like, our batch, right? Because the first episode didn't really have like Wrecker and
Yeah.
Hunter. But I liked it because we also got a little bit of Daniel Logan as well
Yes.
for
Yeah.
is it Mox? So
Yeah.
that
Mox, I
was
think.
obviously we know that Daniel Logan is young Boba Fett, but he got to voice these young clones. Well, one of them at least, which was pretty cool. So that's one of the Easter eggs. I don't know why he didn't just voice all the kid clones,
Yeah,
but apparently it's only the one.
confusing to
But
me. Yeah.
yeah, and there's just so much blackmail going on everywhere, and you're getting a little bit of answers now, and they're finding the base, and the kids are just like, oh, don't touch the vines, and then it turns out that there's like a giant sarlacc
Oof.
thing.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't even know what that was, vine sarlacc. But my favorite part of this episode was where they're like, okay, let's go. And Wrecker just throws Gonky on his back upside down. And he's like, Gonky, Gonk. And he's just like, let's go. And he's like freaking upside down.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you could have at least put him. And his feet are kicking. And then when he finally and he's like carrying him like it's nothing, right? It's hilarious. And then puts him down and Gonky's like, Gonk, Gonk, Gonk. Like, he's so happy.
Yeah.
Like they're like including him. So I don't know why that part just like made me laugh so hard. So yeah, I like
No,
that.
I think I'm on the same way with you there. I think this one was my favourite one out of the three as well. Just going back to when we first started the
Yeah.
podcast, I mentioned how much I love the Gonk droids. I was in stitches with
Yeah.
Gonk as well. I love as well the fact that the Bad Batch or Hunter and Wrecker now they've turned to turned to bounty hunters or mercenaries now to gain information. But I
Mercenaries, yeah.
love the fact that their armor, like Jimmy said at the start, is like battered.
Oof.
Like you can see that they've been through some fights, to get
Yeah, especially Wrecker. Yeah.
to get the information. I love the fact that there's kid clones there as well. I like the little heads up about the syndicate, talking about the crime syndicate as well at the start. The Pikes. Well, that was good.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say? Yes, and I think Disney was so clever here, so clever. So when they mentioned to the kid clones what had happened and all this, they mentioned that there's like loads of experiments on different planets that have gone wrong or etc. etc. That just screams out comic books and books. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah, they
yeah.
just left they left this planet with this destroying vine that
so
they accidentally
you could
made.
do a spin-off series now with Wrecker and Hunter going around cleaning up all these planets, or some other new heroes, etc., etc. So I thought that was an extremely clever move by Disney to put that in there. But yeah, big fan of the Gonk droid. Loved how they got the information. It's good to see Hunter and Wrecker
Yeah.
a bit more, like you see, because you
I
are
really
sort of
liked
dying to
episode
see them
two
in the
as
first
well.
episode as well.
I was kind of
But
curious
yeah,
about
what about you, Jimmy?
well, first off, the opening with it, right? The call back, that family, that's from, I think, season one. They break the horn
Yeah.
off, and um,
Yeah,
and so that
Yeah, they
was
cut his horn off and he's
it was
run
cool.
back to his
And then I
mom.
could not figure out the voice actress, and it was Angelica Houston. Like, I was like, whoa, like that's a pretty big
Oh.
get for Star Wars. I felt like I was like, dang, like a quick little piece, and she was awesome as, the leader of the syndicate. So I thought that was really fun the way they started out. Yeah,
Yeah,
their
scary.
armor battered. You can tell they've been through it. And I didn't think about this until seeing those two, but with Hunter and Wrecker, Wrecker's the muscle, Hunter is the guide and the leader, and it's always been up to Tech and always up to Echo to figure things out for the most
yeah,
part. Like they always like, and so you could tell that they were
Yeah.
struggling. And Hunter is obviously not as fast at going over things, and because like the boys and Wrecker are having
Mm-hmm.
fun afterwards, and Hunter's like trying to figure things out. So I like that it shows them struggling because they're not the Bad Batch anymore. They're the Bad Two. They're not
They're
they're
not
not Clone Force
complete.
99.
Yeah.
There's just the two of them. Um, I would put this episode up with if we know we do another Halloween special next year. This would be one of those ones that goes into the scary category. And um, and
Yeah.
then I thought it was weird that all the clones didn't have the same voices. Like why not just let Daniel Logan do all of them? But
Yeah.
it makes me think they're up to something with that. But who knows? And then
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, you're a big High Republic fan. Did you think, because like Eric mentioned, and I thought the same thing too. Is this the Dren Is like this like these vines? Are they
I'm
like
sure they did mention something about Drengir.
You know what? I was thinking of that as we were watching it, just because it's vines and stuff, but the Dringer have like
Yeah.
spines and like thorns and stuff, and they're one
Sure, they
small
mentioned it.
being with a whole bunch of these
Yeah.
vines, and we didn't
Yeah.
see anything like that. And they have like a beak or whatever, but very
Yeah. I thought it
similar,
was.
very similar. So the Empire could have used something like that. Yeah,
And then I wonder, are they going to take these boys to the Pabu? That island
I
from the
think
end.
so.
From season 2, where they were gonna set up and live there for a while.
yeah,
Or are those boys going to go with them? Are they going to be, because they're troopers. I mean, I know they're young, but they have all
yeah,
the same training. They don't have the experience, but they have all the training. And I also thought, and I don't know if we've heard these rumors about more storytelling to come.
yeah.
You've got a bunch of young clones and you have a young Omega. What happens if Wrecker and Hunter end up eating it, and then
Oh,
that group,
a new
New Bad
team.
Batch.
like almost like a young Avengers or Teen Titans kind of thing, where you got these youngsters running around.
Yeah,
So I thought there's lots of possibilities for, for
Yeah,
things to happen in episode 2, and of course we don't get any of that in episode 3. It jumps right
yeah,
back to the Tantus. So I was like, oh come on, like you got me
yeah,
going here. But yeah, episode 2 was phenomenal. It was good to see, you know, good to see those two again. But man, it's just
yeah.
the struggling, and like it's kind of breaking you. Like you're like, oh my gosh,
Mm,
like something good needs to happen. So, but
yeah.
yeah, I loved it.
Well, when I was thinking of the clones, one of the boys says, "Well, we're soldiers. Well, we were supposed to be," and it just makes me think of
Yeah,
all those people that were about to graduate high school and all this stuff when COVID hit. Nobody expected this random detour, and it just makes me think of like the people who didn't get to have graduate like a big graduation or stuff like that because of COVID, and just because something so big has changed everyone's
yeah,
lives, and it's not going the way we thought that it was going to go, right? So I felt I could relate with the clones because, like, I don't know, my wedding date got totally ruined because of COVID. So they just don't even know what their future is anymore because everything they
yeah,
thought and everything they grew up training about is just gone. Like, imagine those half-grown clones everywhere. Like, oh, so unexpected.
yeah. I thought that was weird, and that just kind of like Jack said too, is like if there really are all these things happening all over the planet, all different planets and things like that,
Yeah,
what's going to
everywhere.
happen? And that sounds like an Omega thing, going and trying to collect the clones. So like
Saving them
she's going to go
all.
save all of her brothers and sisters or whatever. But
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So but yeah, episode 2 up there. I would hate to have to rank these episodes, like, which I'm sure
Oh.
we'll probably do at the end of the season. But
Oh. Wish us luck,
so
people.
yes, yeah. So all right. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy here. I don't know if you could tell, a lot of this episode we were struggling with our internet service, Jack being off on vacation, and we've had some technical difficulties right about this point in our recording, and it dropped Jack, and we were unable to recover some of the files. So we're going to pick up with Taylor and I kind of diving into episode 3, and then a short interview with Taylor at the end. Again, I apologize. It is difficult, recording over 3 different countries. But hopefully you enjoy the content so far. And again, so we're just going to jump into this next part. Is Taylor and I kind of diving into episode 3 of the Bad Batch, and then we're going to go into the interview process with her about her FanExpo. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and then we'll catch Jack next week for how he felt about episodes 3 and hopefully episodes 4. So thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Yeah, I really liked it. Like I said, I don't want to have to rank these eventually, like we will at the end. But at the end of the series. But man, yeah, I thought this was really good. The Project Necromancer again. For like I said, this show has made us content for months. I mean, we will be able
Yes.
to. You already see people are talking about Barris Offee's in there. They're talking like, did you see Snoke, or is Hemlock going to become Snoke, or is he going to be tortured?
Oh.
All these things, just and I was just like, oh my gosh, like we're going to be able to, because they don't come out and say it straight up. then we'll be able to just deep dive into stuff. But yeah, I really loved it. I kind of figured Batcher was coming back to help out
Yeah,
whenever they crashed, and that was pretty
of
exciting because
course.
obviously I love dogs, and I was really afraid she was going to leave him. I was like, now or her, sorry, that she was going to leave
Her, it turned out to be her.
Batcher,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, they took him. Like you said, like there's just more, more crew, and so it was great, terrifying, um, and I just wonder, it just Emery is still just like a mystery to me, you know,
Yeah.
just with no, they
No.
in the first episode she goes, well, I just wasn't here. I think it was the first episode, maybe it was the third episode. They're all kind of blurred together, but um, why was she gone? What is she about? She's following these rules like super strict, but then she brings back her her plushie
Her
or
little
whatever, and
doll.
yeah,
Her
and
grass thing.
so it's like, where does she stand? And of course, so I don't know. I thought it was great. I just starting things off, and I couldn't believe. I don't know about you guys, but did that wheel turning with the blood samples like just give you like anxiety? Like, and
Yes.
it actually started in episode 1, that wheel turning, and it just like something would happen and it would flash, and then something crazy
Yeah,
would
every
happen.
time.
You're like, ah, like that is
I
masterful
know.
storytelling. I don't remember off the top of my head who wrote these episodes, but my goodness, like, uh, just talk about anxiety levels to 100 with that stupid wheel, and then just waiting for it to get to Omega's blood sample, and then just to hit that and it go like because we talked about it on our preview show. There's obviously Omega. There's a reason they brought Omega into this. The reason that Dave Filoni and was it Jennifer Corbett, and I think that I'm trying to think of a couple of the other people that are involved. I don't want to just give Dave all the credit, but there's a reason they brought this group back. They brought Omega. Like they're trying to tell this story, and we're getting closer to that. And every week's just going to be like, oh my God, give me more, give me more, give me more. And it's an animated show. It's so
More.
crazy. Yeah, it's just so good. So I have zero complaints on the animation. My wife walked in, Molly walked in, and she goes, it doesn't even look like a cartoon anymore. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It's amazing. So I absolutely loved it. But yeah, so I could probably talk about episode 3 or all these episodes for an hour, but it was awesome. Taylor, what did you think of episode?
I really liked it too. I love how Omega and Crosshair are like together and like they're actually like they get along, like they understand each other now. Like they've been talking for a while now, right? And they have this thing where they walk past each other every day at a certain amount of time or a certain time. They don't look at each other. They're not giving it away, even though obviously everyone knows they're kind of connected in a way. But Crosshair's got some shaky hands going on, probably because he's getting injected with a bunch of drugs every day, every week. So, and that's going to affect his like clone ability, right? His accuracy.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I just yeah, and the special specimens like that we see the cases or the big tubes of like. I just want to rewind it and like look, but it's all just shapes. You can't like quite see, right?
Yeah.
But it's good. It sucked me right into it, and I cannot wait until we get our next episode. It's going to suck that we don't have 3 to watch. But and I just honestly just I can't even say it enough that Omega is so underestimated. Like she jumps down there, she shoots, she hits all 3 that she's aiming at once. Tuk, 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 like perfect. She's like saving Crosshair. She's like flying the ship. She's doing everything. And how old is she supposed to be?
12 maybe. I mean, she looks like she's about Ahsoka's age from the Clone Wars, kind of like maybe
Yeah.
younger.
So
I don't
she's
know.
like they have trained her well, and even
Yeah,
Crosshair's like, did they teach you, Plan 72 or whatever? And she's
yeah.
like, well, yeah, of course. Like I learned them all, and it's like,
And
of
he's
course, Tech taught you to teach them to
yeah.
learn
So I
them
was just
all.
gonna.
And it's just like,
It's like
so, and obviously she told Crosshair what happened with Tech, so
yeah,
it's good. It's super good. I'm loving it.
yeah. I was gonna bring that up. That part right there that you said, like, hey, did you know this? And she's like, yeah, of course. He made me learn everything. And then Crosshair's like, of course he did. I thought that was such a great, just respect for Tech. Like, of course he did this. Like, this is what
Yes.
Tech would do. And so yeah, I really loved it. And yeah, you're right though. I think. not having 3 episodes to dissect. It might actually be a little bit better. Like I don't want to. I'd love to be able to binge this season, but I think
Yeah.
it might be nice to sit down with one episode, watch it, be like, and then rewatch
Absorb
it.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for
Yeah.
it. So, but um, yeah, so episode 3, just awesome. All 3 of them just knocked it out of the park. No filler, just driving that story forward. And I think
Yeah.
that the next 12 episodes are going to be the same way. Just go, go, go. And it's going to be, it might go down as one of the best series in Star Wars if it
Yeah.
keeps up this pace,
Yeah.
depending on
This
how
is
it
not a
ends.
get up and go grab yourself a snack without pushing
No,
pause show.
yeah.
Not anymore. No.
All right, so Bad Batch season 3, episodes 1 and 3, off to a super strong start. We are obviously having some technical difficulties because Jack is on Endor, as Taylor said earlier.
Yes.
So
Poor
we're going to move forward. Yeah, poor reception on Endor. That's what always makes me wonder, man. How do they use that technology in Star Wars to work so dang well when we can't even get the Wi-Fi and internet to connect? I want to live there just because their internet seems a lot better than ours. But anyway, so
Evidently.
Taylor, if people follow us on social media or follow you at Commander Taylor, they had to have seen that you had an absolutely, I mean, it's like every fan's dream weekend. You had it. So I think tell everybody where you were, and then we'll dive
Okay.
into some questions that Jack and I have for you. And
Okay. So this past weekend, I went to FanExpo Vancouver. It was Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but I didn't go on Monday because they needed a train driver at the zoo, and I was the only one available. But my Saturday and Sunday were absolutely amazing. Overwhelming with how much stuff happened. And I think on my drive home on Saturday night, just to give you guys too much information, I think I cried the whole way home that I was so happy. And it's so ridiculous, but you're right. It was like a dream come true. So, yeah, I got to meet some people and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, you look like you got to meet a lot of people. I know. I mean, I've not been to any smaller cons, and that have famous people at them. I've only been to Celebration, and there's no real. You get to hang out the way you did. So that's awesome. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to some of the stuff that I plan on doing in March and then again in June. But
Yeah.
now that I've seen what you've done, so tell us, who all did you get to see? Like, who did you meet? Let's go.
I met Cameron Monaghan. I met Iman Esfandi, Diana Lee Insanto, Paul Sun. I met him, who's Captain Carson Tiva. And I met Giancarlos Esposito, who I was really afraid to meet because he's such a good bad guy. But when I met him in person, he was really nice. We were posing for a photo, and I was right beside him. And I'm tall, so I was a little bit taller than Giancarlos, and I went to kind of shimmy down a little bit just so that I'm not the tallest person right beside him. And he pats me on the small of my back, and he says, "Stand up straight. Not a lot of people have the privilege of being tall." And then but with a big smile on his face. And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I stood right up, and still in the photo, his hat is still taller than me. So I don't look super tall.
There you go.
Yeah. So my fear of meeting him is over. So he was super, super nice. They were all super nice.
Yeah. So Cal Kestis, Ezra Bridger, Carson Tiva, Moff Gideon.
Yeah. The magistrate.
Why am I blanking? Yeah, the magistrate. Why am I blanking on Diane's character's name? Oh, she's the magistrate. Yeah. Sorry.
She was the Night Sister.
Night Sister. Yeah. So she's the Night Sister. So people who have watched the shows and may not recognize the names.
Yes.
Taylor is, basically the entire cast of Ahsoka and some of the Mando people. So, who stood out to you? Like you were talking to me a little bit. I don't think Hank listens to the podcast, so I'll go ahead and tell people we're going to surprise them with. Yeah, hopefully we're going to surprise them with because Ezra Bridger is his favorite character. So Taylor was super nice and she's gotten him to sign some stuff. So Taylor, tell us about that experience and just about Iman as you know. Tell us about him a little bit.
So I did get to hang out with a lot of those actors, but I got to hang out with Iman a lot more. I'm not sure how I got so lucky, but he was super friendly to talk to and just like super laid back. He's just enjoying being there. And I was talking to him about getting the signature for Hank, and he's like, "Oh, what photo would he like the most?" And then I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I have to find out." So I'm messaging Jimmy, like, "Which photo should I get him to sign?" And as I'm waiting for Jimmy to reply to me, he's just like, "So, like, how are you liking FanExpo? Like, how's it going?" And it was just, he's really easy to kind of like make fun with and like jab with because he's just always laughing and always smiling. And like he came over to our booths. I was hanging out with the 501st and the Rebel Legion and the PC Droid Builders. And he just came over to the booth. And he's like shooting the stormtroopers. He's like, "Are you guys ready for this?" And he doesn't even look at the person he's shooting at, and he just sticks out his arm and doo, 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 gets him right in the face like 6 times without even looking. It was just like, "You're so Ezra." Like, and he is Ezra, like how goofy he is and how easy he is to talk to. I just kept going up to him like, "Hey, I'm here to bug you again." And he's like, "Oh, hey, Taylor." I'm like, "Oh, you just pretend to remember my name." Like, yeah, the security was not, I don't want to say they weren't doing their job because they were always there, but I think they just knew I was just harmless. So I just was able to sneak by them like every time and just start up a conversation. So yeah, it was really fun. Iman is hilarious. And,
He seems like, he seems like the character, and people have seen the video of him using your double-bladed lightsaber. I won't spoil it. Go out on social media and watch that video. We posted it. He posted it, and you posted it. He has a pretty good sense of humor, so that was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah. So. I took the video, and, well, I guess I was standing there with my lightsaber, and I like have it leaning up against the table, and he's like, "Is that a double lightsaber?" I'm like, "Yeah, do you want to play with it?" He's like, "Yeah, will you teach me to use it?" And he's like, "How different is it?" And I like grabbed his hand. I'm like, "You're going to follow your hand. You're going to follow your pointer finger all the way around. You're going to bend at your elbow." I'm like totally explaining it to him. And, a friend that I met at FanExpo, Nico, he's like, "Why aren't you filming this?" So I'm like, oh. So I pull up my phone and I'm like, thanks, Nico. And I start filming and I'm like, "There, like, you're getting it." Like, cause at first, I'm not going to lie, at first he didn't, but not a lot of people do, right? Especially if you've never played with the double saber. And I owe all of my lightsaber training to Michelle C. Smith, who we've had on the show before because she's awesome. So I was kind of helping him, and then I guess he hit himself with my saber by accident. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, do you want me to delete this?" And he's like, "No, it's great. It's awesome. I'm going to post this." So I was like, "Okay." Because if he wanted me to delete it, I totally would have. Like,
yeah, of course.
I mean, I probably would have figured out how to recover it later. So, yeah, so it was super fun. Yeah, who else did I meet? I got to meet Cameron Monaghan. I waited in his very long lineup to get his signature. And then when I got there, I didn't have my wallet. So I was just like, "Oh my gosh." Like, I waited 45 minutes in this lineup and then I didn't have my wallet to pay for the signature. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh." Like, I have a hurt back right now. So I've been standing in this lineup for so long. And then I guess he sees me walking away. And he's like, "Oh, hold up." And then he walks over like, "Hey, like, what's up? I didn't give you a signature or anything." And I told him, I'm like, "I guess I just left my wallet back at the table, like at the booth. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so embarrassed." And he was like, "Oh, you know what?" And he reaches over onto his table and he grabs this Valentine's Day card that somebody else probably gave to him. Let's be honest. It doesn't say anything like on the back. It's just blank. And he just grabs it. I'm like, "What are you doing there? Like, what you doing there?" And he's like, "Oh, you'll see." And he signs it. And it's literally a Valentine's Day card that says, "You're a blast." And he signed it. And literally, as soon as he handed it back to me, I smudged it. So
Taylor.
I'm freaking out. I'm talking to him and
Well,
I'm like,
I'm sure,
but my
yeah.
hands are like sweating. So I have a picture of the smudge on my hand and the Valentine's Day card. So that was pretty cool. So I didn't have to pay for that. So thanks, Cameron, for that one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I didn't expect to see Paul's son at our booth.
Was he on the? Yeah, was he on the thing? Is he Canadian though? Like,
he is Canadian. He's Korean Canadian. So he was downtown Vancouver for the premiere of The Last Airbender. So he came. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And you know what? Some of the people that we were hanging out with all weekend got tickets to go to the premiere. And I was like, that would be so cool, except for that. Don't hate me. I've never watched any of them, like any of the animated stuff. So I just, not Avatar either. I don't know if they're related. This is how bad I am. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Have fun. You guys have fun. That's awesome. But I got a few questions from Paul. I talked to him about the podcast. He thought that was awesome. He said he would love to come on the show. Hey, Paul, you told me you would come on the show, so you're coming on at some point. Got some good photos with him. And then I got a lot of, there's photo bombs in the background. Someone was like, your photo's ruined. I'm like, no, my photo is great because of it. So he came by. He's super, super easygoing, just chatting with everybody. Did not see Gina. I think she was there very, very briefly and then left super early. I'm not even going to get into it, but I didn't even see her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you get to talk to Diane and did you get to talk to the Night Sister, the magistrate?
I did. So she was so nice, and as soon as you meet her in person, it's like she just has this comforting vibe. Like I felt so comfortable standing right in front of her and just chatting with her, like, oh, I love you, and I'm just talking to her, and she's like, how's it going? Like, are you guys having a good time? And she's so funny, like she's just friendly, and I honestly got like my mom vibes off her. I don't know why, so I just was super comfortable talking to her, and she's just like, hey, like, do you want a photo with like everyone around her? She's so nice. And I guess she said that she didn't even know that she was a Night Sister when she was filming Mandalorian. So not until about halfway through when they were filming it, did they tell her, okay, your character is actually going to grow from this episode. So she signed on just for the one episode. And that's cool. Yeah. And then they were kind of like, okay, you did a great job. We're going to take this to the next step. And she's just like, okay, let's do it. So that's super cool too. Giancarlo's came to our booth. And I was afraid of him beforehand, but he was super, super nice when I actually got to meet him. Yeah, the weekend was so busy. Like I met so many people. So many people just came to our booth, just like regular people, like friends came, and I was sitting at the droid booth all weekend at the BC Droid Builders booth. So I was either handing out pamphlets, or like we had this decoding game, with like Orbesh writing. And I always have people asking like, oh, these droids, like, oh, I want to buy one of these droids. I'm like, sir, you don't have enough credits to buy these droids.
Well, didn't Adam Savage compliment you on your droids this weekend?
Yes, Adam Savage saw, I think he came over to our booth. We drove R5 over to him, and he was just like blown away with how awesome he was. And then he came over to our booth later, and he was looking at like the battle droid that we have there. Max built this beautiful like battle droid, and he's just, you can almost like hear him saying Roger, Roger with it when it doesn't even move. Like, it's so cool. All the different droids are amazing. I met like people that have been building these droids that I've never met before, that are from Vancouver Island and stuff. So it was just, I love the droid booth. All of the droids there are to scale. Like they're the
Yeah.
size that they're supposed to be, and like every single little knob is exactly how it's supposed to look. They're like film ready. All of them drive. They have drivers, or I guess companions that walk around with them, and they all make noises. They all spin. They all have like arms that come out and stuff. So it was just, oh, it was so cool. And to see like the kids see these droids, the huge smiles on their faces. They're like hugging the droids and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I hugged like all the droids, and I think there's photos of all of it. But just seeing the kids get excited about the droids, it's like, just like makes your heart warm. Like, and you just look at the parents like, yeah, this is good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they have a kids section at Celebration, and every once in a while, because you'll just walk through places and stuff like that, and you can see all the kids having fun and being introduced to Star Wars. And it's pretty awesome. So yeah, it's always good to hear on the next generation to keep Star Wars in. So what would you you said you're hanging out with like the 501st, the BC Droid Builders. I mean, you were all over the place. What would you say was this like? What's the one thing that you'll never forget, I guess? Like, I mean, you had the craziest weekend. Like, so this is probably a pretty difficult question, but like, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part, it was probably just when, I think it was actually the end of the day when I got invited out to dinner. So, on Saturday night, I went out for dinner with a bunch of the people from our booths that were part of the Bucketheads booth, even to 501st, Rebel Legion, BC Droid Builders, and probably more clubs that I didn't get to talk to. But
tell people who the Bucketheads you called them, right?
Yes.
Who are the Bucketheads?
So go on YouTube, and Bucketheads is I don't even want to say it, fan film, because it's so much more than that. They are filming their own kind of scenes from Star Wars, and it's like the point of view from the stormtroopers on Endor and how like they are feeling. And a lot of the actors that they use for this film were there, and I just get to chat with them, and they love it just as much as us. And like I think there's a scene where they have to run up and down stairs, and it's like, you cannot run up and down stairs in a TK kit. So they're all laughing, like good stories. So definitely watch it. They've got chapter 1 and chapter 2 out, and chapter 3 is almost out. They're just finishing the, I guess, behind the scenes editing and stuff. So it's a really good story. Definitely follow Bucketheads on YouTube, or you can find them on Facebook too.
Cool.
But yeah, I think my favorite part was honestly just going to the restaurant with everyone and all of us talking about our great experience of the day. So all of us are just like chatting with each other, and like all of us have lightsabers or like blasters or like literal like helmets just on the table beside us. And like there's just everywhere you look, there's someone else in like a big bright pink wig 3 tables over, because everyone's coming over from FanExpo. So just getting to recap on the day with everyone was really fun.
Wow, yeah, that's like the best part of those things, I think, is to get to hang out. And I mean, obviously Jack and I getting to meet each other at UK, in London for Celebration, and that was more fun than, I mean, I don't get into all this stuff, but like getting to hang out with him and some other people, it's always good making those connections. Honestly, here we are now because of those connections. So I think we played the video. I think we put it out on the socials, but you got to ask a pretty cool question, and Diana gave a really cool answer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play that for everybody right now.
Your name and your question.
Hi, my name is Taylor from Explore the Force of International Star Wars Podcast. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you both for coming to Vancouver, because all of your Star Wars fans need you guys. Woo!
Shout out Vancouver!
Star Wars community. Yeah, so thank you guys for coming. But my question is for both of you. So with the strikes, when we were waiting for Ahsoka to come out, did you guys personally feel a little bit, for lack of a better word, ripped off for not getting to do all of your post-show interviews and the tours and all of that stuff, and then all of a sudden the strike was over and we got the same trailer 3 times in like 3 days? but feel a little bit ripped off that you didn't get all these interviews that you obviously want to do?
Did you feel a little ripped off?
Yeah, right? Am I right? We all felt ripped off. But we knew the strikes needed to happen, so we're glad they're over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have, being in my culture, we have a saying called Mahala Na. It means come what may. And so that's kind of the attitude I took. You can't control the elements out here. You only control where you're at. And as I said before, the main thing was really seeing how the fans were reacting. At the end of the day, it's the fans, and I think Dave would even tell you that, and John, that, we did the work and it got put out there in the zeitgeist, and we loved that the fans were there on this ride. And so for that, I'm appreciative,
Yeah, I hear the sentiment, and I understand it and resonate, and surely had the thought of that at some point. Again, saying how it wasn't, this is kind of the first thing I've ever been on with billboards, you know what I mean? I'm seeing billboards, I'm like, man, my friend's like, did you know that was there? I'm like, no. Like, cool stuff like that. And then, sort of imagining, fantasizing the ideas of these interviews and these promos and things like that. But because it's never really been a part of my life, when it was like, we're on strike, and I was like, what are the reasons of the strike? Oh, those are good reasons. Okay, well, nothing really changed, I don't feel like, like I haven't done it before to where I'm like, oh, that part is so cool, and I wish we did that. I'm sort of like, well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, you got us a little shout out there, Taylor. How was that experience, getting to talk to them and asking questions in front of everybody?
Well, I actually had different questions originally. I can't even remember what they are now. But of course, the two people that were ahead of me asked those questions before I get there. And they're like, oh, you have a podcast? Oh, get right up front. And they pushed me right up to the mic, and they're like, here you go. I'm just like, ah. But I was smart in the way that I said, this question is for both of you. Not just for one of them like everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
But it was super cool because as soon as I said, hi, I'm Taylor from Explore the Force podcast, I look around and everyone's like, wow! And even Iman and Diana were just like, wow, awesome, yeah! And then they remembered me through the rest of the weekend from that. So, which was really cool. And then and then instantly, an hour later, it's like, ding, 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 followers. I'm like, haha! But it was a little bit nerve-wracking. I was a little bit shaky, but
yeah, it's always intimidating asking questions in front of all those people and then the famous people, though. But yeah, that sounds like I have joked around with you about coming up there for that event, but now, man, I kind of want to. If you get to have that much fun.
Imagine if you did. Oh my gosh. Well, now you have to next year at least.
Yeah, maybe. So, very cool. Well, Taylor, is there anything else, any other stories or anything that you want to tell us? I know you've been dying to talk to us. Unfortunately, Jack, having some issues with his technology, but is there anything else that you could just, you want to tell everybody?
I have a couple of funny stories, but we'll start off with one. So I was hanging out at the Droid booth most of the weekend, and right behind us was the photo booth, and I wore my Jedi cosplay, but I didn't finish the two pieces that come down, not sashes, but whatever they're called. So I didn't finish those, so my cosplay wasn't 100%, so I wasn't in the photo booth all weekend or anything. But when we were in the Droid booth, I think it was a time where it was kind of quiet. We didn't have a whole lot of people walking around, and all of a sudden I hear smashing behind me, and I turn around, and the chopper droid. So we had a chopper droid, we had a BB-8, 3 R2D2s, a Dio, a bunch of other ones, R5. But all of a sudden, the chopper droid is driving forward, and he's smashing into the other droids. Bang! Bang! And he's going backwards, and he's spinning his head around, and he's hitting all the other droids. And I'm like, ha! Hilarious. And I look at the one driver, because everyone else had gone for lunch. So I'm looking at the driver, and he looks up from his phone, and he's like, that's not me. And we realized the chopper droid is shorting out, and he's smashing all these thousands of dollars.
Those things are so expensive.
Yes, they're $6,000 a droid, and they're you can't even buy them. You have to make them literally from these guys are amazing on the technologies that they use to build these, especially the BB-8 droid. That thing rolls around. It's so good. He makes all the noises. His head did come off one time. I think a lady backed into him and his head flew off. But hey, his head flies off in one of the sequels. So it was accurate. But so the driver jumped on Chopper and he's holding him. He's like, you need to find Chopper's driver. Where is he? I'm like, I don't know. So we're pinning down Chopper as he's going nuts, trying to destroy the other droids, and then we ended up unplugging him really quick. So, but of all the droids that would go nuts, it would be Chopper.
Makes sense. That's pretty funny, though.
Yeah,
that's.
But everyone was okay. Nobody got broken or anything like that. We did find a stuffy inside of one of the R2-D2's head domes. I don't even know how, because they have to be like completely twisted off and like lifted. There was a kid's toy, like a stuffy dolphin or something, inside one of them. We have no idea how it got there. But yeah, you know what? One more thing. I had a good conversation with Iman about his time filming with us on Ahsoka. I asked if it was okay if I shared it. He said it was okay. So I asked him what it was like being on set, and he just said he had so much fun. Everyone was just really, really great. And then I was asking him about the blue eyes, and he said the blue eye, I guess the contacts, they're not the kind that you can see through. So the blue part is solid blue on his eyes, and that tiny little hole, that little black hole, part of the eye is escaping me right now. That's the only part that he can see out of when he's wearing those contacts. So he said he's looking. He says, "Okay, go like this. Put your hands around your eyes," and that's how he could see through when he's doing all of his stunts and stuff. So
that's crazy.
I'm like, wow, really? He said, yeah, every 15 minutes, someone had to come over to me and put eye drops in my eyes because they're actually really hard as well. So I guess they had to be bright enough to show up on camera. So he said every 15 minutes he would just take a knee and just open his eyes, put the drops into his eyes. But he said it wasn't so bad at the end of the day. But I had a really good time chatting with a lot of people, and I'm sure I'm forgetting so much stuff, but you can always message me or ask me about it.
Very cool. Well, that's awesome, Taylor. Like, again, that doesn't always happen, so that's really exciting for you.
I was very lucky.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, I hope that always happens for you, because that sounds like just like the best weekend ever. But
well, people are like, how did you even get to talk to these people? And I'm like, well, you see, that's my superpower. I never stop talking.
There you go.
Don't give them a chance to walk away.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you can think of? I think.
What else do I have here? Well, I just wanted to give everyone that I hung out with all weekend a bit of a shout out. So I just wanted to say thank you guys. Thank you 501st Outer Rim Garrison. Thank you BC Droid Builders Club. And thank you for Falcon Base, the Rebel Legion, because you guys just let me be a part of your family all weekend. And I was jumping in your photos, and I was just welcomed in, and everyone's like, you would look great in this cosplay, and everyone's letting me try on their coats, and they're complimenting me on my cosplay, even though it's like half done. And just I met so many people, and you guys were all just so great, and you let me be in all your photos and stuff. So just, I know I was helping out, but thank you so much for letting me have this weekend, because I wouldn't have had this weekend without you guys, with all of you guys. So thank you.
Very cool. Thank you guys all for making Taylor's basically dream come true. So yeah. Taylor's super awesome to hear about this. I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up. So let's go ahead and take us out.
Well, from me, for light and life.
All right, everyone, don't forget to like, subscribe. Make sure you message us if you like something on Instagram. Maybe leave a comment for us. We're on all the social medias. Yeah, we know you're looking. We're everywhere at Explore the Force. You can email us exploretheforce@gmail.com, and we have 2 very exciting weekends coming up. So you're gonna want to have like and subscribe, because you're not gonna want to miss what's gonna happen over next week and the weekend after that. So we're very excited about that. We got lots of things lined up, and for us, for Jack on Endor, we have spoken.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.
Next week.